You're listening to Dramas Over Flowers with Saya, Anissa, and Boroma. And Zaynab.
Hi, I'm Saya.
Hi, I'm Anissa.
And I'm Boroma. And we have a special guest. Today, joining us is Zaynab!
Yay!
Hi, welcome back.
Thank you for having me back.
Welcome.
So good to have you.
So today we're here to talk about Perfect Marriage Revenge, and we're going to go full spoilers. If you want to hear the sort of spoiler-free versions, go and check out our last long yak, where we talked about the beginnings, the premises, all of that. Now we're here to rip it into shreds, either out of love or other feelings.
단 한 번만 더 기회를 주신다면 내 모든 걸 걸고 아니지, 너 그들에게 복수하겠습니다.
So, how do you feel about Perfect Marriage Revenge, guys?
So, I haven't quite finished it as yet. Wait, has it finished airing?
Yes, it has.
Yes. Okay. Awesome. I haven't finished it quite yet, but I will say I don't think it can possibly end badly. I mean, I rarely say that, and I'm taking a risk here, but I don't think it can, simply because the way the entire story has been written, there is this weird confidence in the writing.
It's so good.
Mm-hmm.
It's like, the drama acts like it's a lowbrow drama, but the writing is like top tier. I'm really, really impressed by how well written it is.
The writing is really good. I'm following this writer after this drama.
Absolutely.
And it does end well. Boroma and Zaynab, you haven't finished it yet either, right?
Yeah, I haven't finished it yet either.
How
but
far
I also
are you?
feel like I never want to say that something cannot go badly. But like, I feel like that's just
Yeah.
I
jinxing it.
usually wouldn't, but that's the kind of confidence. Yeah.
But like, every episode is just so fast paced, and I feel like that's kind of unusual for episode one, for it to just be so like, it got right into it.
It gives you the sense of the kind of writing where the writer has the entire story already mapped out, has revised it completely, making sure that things don't fall apart in the second half, and then finally, brought it to a script format.
Yes.
That's the kind of confidence and self-assurance I get out of every episode that I'm watching. There's just that, that
And you
thing.
want a drama that knows where it's going when you're doing time travel, right? Because otherwise we just get the problem where it's like great for a few episodes and then you're just like, what happened?
It fell apart.
Yeah.
You know what I find really impressive is that, when you're watching dramas where all sorts of nonsensical things happen and you're sitting there asking questions as a rational human being, and then the drama pretends that like rationale doesn't exist in this universe. But what you keep at every possible moment in this drama where you are asking a question, the character asks the question. And it's like trope savvy in a way that doesn't feel like self-conscious, like it's self-aware. But it's also like things make sense. It doesn't rely on sort of pulling the wool over your eyes and saying, oh, you know what, just suspend your disbelief. Just like let it go, it's a drama. It doesn't rely on that. Like characters don't have to be stupid for the story to happen.
Correct.
The story happens while allowing the characters to be smart and normal.
There was a single scene in the entire 12 episodes of the drama where I was like, wait a minute, why would they do that? Like, and it was a small scene, and like honestly, that it was an end of episode 11, beginning of episode 12. I was like, okay, fine, whatever. Like, I haven't had any other complaints here, so I'm fine with this. Like it kind of was. I was willing to give the drama that.
Actually, I agree with you.
Which one I'm talking about. But like otherwise, everything made so much sense. Nobody acted in a way where like they wouldn't. Like you got to know all of the characters from episode 1, exactly what kind of people they are, and everyone acted consistently to their character all the way to the end.
That's always satisfying.
Like the villains, I mean, there were multiple villains. They were all so enjoyable to hate and to watch.
I know.
Yeah. And the lead actress, who I think her name is Jung Yoo-min, never seen her before, but she was such a discovery. Like she was perfect in this. She was so good.
I completely agree.
You want to talk about Sung-hun?
Yes, I want to.
Let's talk
I
about
absolutely want to. But no, before that, I just briefly want to talk about Im Seo-ra, the writer of the drama. Just like Anisa, I got interested in like, I'm waiting to see what else she writes. But she has written something before in 2018. She wrote Feel Good to Die. And it's a Groundhog Day type thing where it's like you're living the same day on repeat. And the premise seemed really interesting. The reviews on MDL were pretty good. So I decided to like just check out the first episode. And as I was about to, I thought I recognized the male lead. And I do. And he's a what's the correct word for it? Basically, he has committed sexual
Isn't rapist
assault.
the correct
He
word?
is, yeah.
I know, but I don't exactly know the details of the entire situation, so I didn't want to commit to the word.
No, I mean, I think this was one of the rare cases where I
actually do remember what happened. He assaulted 2 employees of his agency, and he tried to hush them up with money, and they refused, took him to court, and he actually got convicted.
So yeah.
So the actor,
that's right. For the same reason I didn't watch it, because I already knew about this by the time. Yeah.
But so the actor in question is Kang Ji-hwan, and like the story has like good reviews. So I'm hoping, like, I'm sure the writer had done a good job, but like, what a horrible thing to happen to your first project for it to be associated with a piece of shit like this.
Right.
So Im Seo-ra, I'm like rooting for you. I hope you get like nothing but great projects and great actors and directors and all of them.
Yeah.
Can I just cover myself a moment, because I did say it and I need to unsay it, that it's quasi-rape and sexual assault is indeed correct. He was not convicted of rape.
Yeah, but yes. I'm glad you did that, but I also completely agree with the feeling. Yeah. Because they just like dance around the semantics of the crime way too much, especially in Asian countries, my country, South Korea. Okay, so
I think the reason that they said it was quasi rape is because like he like got them drunk, which is like still rape in my book. But we don't need to go down this like horrible path. Yeah. Let's talk about this very good drama. But thanks for shouting out Im Seo-ra, because excellent writing.
She totally deserves it. So Sung-hun, right? So before we started recording, we were just talking about how Sung-hun is an actor that we all like, even though none of us will ever say he has some higher acting talent. I personally end up watching almost every Sung-hun drama, even like these really low budget, like bizarre ones.
I will always at least start it.
Something about this actor I will do.
Yeah.
I will do.
The first time I ever saw him was in 5 Children, which was also Shin Hye-sun's breakout role. Yeah. So they were playing. So 5 Children was this like 50 episode weekend drama. The main couple was like the older couple. It was a woman who, I think she had 3 children and he had 2 children. So they were both divorced, or he was widowed and they got together. So they had 5 children, which is where the very creative name came from. But Sung-hun played this like really cocky golfer, and Shin Hye-sun was like this very like innocent type of character who had never like really dated anyone, and they fell in love. And it was one of those really fun dynamics where like he's like this really cocky character, and then he finds this one girl and he just like completely falls head over heels, and she's like, I don't care about you, like just leave me alone. And both of them became like the buzzy couple of the drama more than any of the other couples. They were so cute together. That drama is worth watching just for them. So after that, I was like, this guy is really funny. And I think he is really funny, but you're right. I don't think that his acting chops are like, anything to really write home about.
Like he can do what he can do.
Yeah. And he has a lot of charisma, and he also has this like inherent ridiculousness to him where like if he does a role where he's supposed to play it straight and be like the cool, sort of cold, suave guy without any like cracks or vulnerability, he just comes off as being a jerk, which is what happened in Level Up. I hated him in that. I only watched 1 episode because it was such a bad drama, but like, you don't want to see him. You want to see him where like, actually he's been in love with the heroine the whole time, and it's all been his cool, attitude has all been a front. That's the kind of, and he's just like falling over himself to do things for her. That's what you want to see from him.
And like he's dripping with a little bit of cheese, but also a lot of competence.
You know that he does that one thing with his voice where he's like lowers his voice and kind of whispers, and it's like you're like, oh my god, dude, you're so over the top.
I think he is of that. He reminds me of like actors like Soji Sab and the kind of actor I'm talking about with the low voice and like the deep
very tall.
graveliness.
They have a lot of physical presence.
Yeah, built.
Yeah.
But just like Soji Sab, for instance, this guy does have physical humor down pat.
Yes.
I remember him from Oh My Venus, and he had like a small secondary role, but like after that I kept seeing him in these really ridiculous low budget, like just
do you remember
really
I picked up a celebrity on the street?
Yeah.
Do you remember my rant about that?
So Zaynab.
Yeah. I feel like I didn't really care. Maybe like unlike y'all, I did not care about Sunwon. Maybe I saw him in a couple of dramas, but there was that one that was really popular on TikTok, like the vet one.
Oh, that one was not good.
Yeah.
Was it like My Secret Romance or something?
I have no idea.
Yeah. I watched My Secret Romance. That wasn't a vet one. That was like so he had employed this nutritionist whom he had also like slept with like a few years back, but she refused to recognize him, and he's like, how is it possible you forgot me? And so he hires her, and basically they have like that employee boss secret romance thing going on for a while. It was fine. It was super tropey. It was a bit boring, but it was very popular.
The vet one is Noble, My Love. No, there is a vet one.
There is a vet one.
It's Noble, My Love.
Oh.
I watched it. It was really, really bad.
But didn't he get injured, and then the vet finds him and she patches him up, and then like he becomes obsessed with her.
And then he like blackmails her into like opening a vet hospital just for him and his needs. And he and he's like a CEO, and he like basically holds her hostage.
That's the kind of character he seems to really gravitate towards. The kind of guy who's like a rich CEO who can bully the heroine, and like because he loves her, but he will like buy her apartment and a business and all of that stuff. And he really gravitates towards that kind of like Mark Chung-yi area. And for him to finally, right before this, I think he did that something marriage featuring divorce.
Love featuring marriage and divorce.
Something like that.
Season 1 and 2.
That's crazy.
So apparently people really liked him in that one too. I unfortunately did not get to see that one.
He also played the Raphael character in the Jane the Virgin Korean reboot, which like totally suits him, honestly.
Oh my god.
Okay, but let's get back to Perfect Marriage Revenge.
What I was saying was I didn't really care for him prior to this, but he's doing really well in this drama. I think like partially it's just that this role is really suited to him. And then also the writing is just so good that I feel like even the weaker actors are really supported by the writing and the directing and the performances of the better actors.
That's really true. Like one of the reasons this feels like a drama that's kind of pretending to be a low budget Mark Chung is because of all of those very old-fashioned tropes that they have, like the gender dynamic, the class implications, all of those things, the mother-in-law, daughter-in-law shenanigans. But it's the fact that the writing really supports all of these tropes with a lot of like, I don't know, wholesome affection. Like, here is how it could turn out, but here are these, these people end up being nice, so they're not actually awful, so the trope isn't used in the way it's usually used. So it's like Sung-hoon gravitated towards exactly the kind of drama he usually does, except the writer decided that I'm going to make you nice instead.
Yeah. So he's still a rich CEO who's in love with the heroine.
Yeah.
And would do anything for her.
Yeah, but he doesn't use that to manipulate her. He's just like, oh, you want to take revenge on your horrible family?
Let me help
Let's
you
do
with
it.
that.
Yes, exactly. Just tell me what to do, and I'm here.
I love that so much.
I want to talk about, so this is like a contract marriage, revenge, time travel drama. So let's talk about that genre mashup. How did that work for y'all?
It worked.
Oh, really good.
Yeah, I feel like, you know what? I don't know if you read a lot of web novels, but this is like very popular in web novels. And also like the whole, like the very dog blood plot where they're like, the family's trying to kill everybody and like somebody poisoned somebody else and everything.
So
a
this
lot of
is
times-
adapted from a webtoon.
Yeah.
Looks like.
It was.
But like a lot of times those kind of stories annoy me and like it gets really repetitive, but this is just working very well. I think 12 episodes was a good length just because it didn't get dragged out too much. So I feel like they had enough time to make the story work without having to add too much to make the story crazy. I feel like with time travel dramas, especially, a lot of times simpler is better. Instead of getting caught, like they'll get caught up a lot in the like really detailed things that nobody really cared about. Like it's better to not have people think about it too much because time travel doesn't work. So you can't think about it too
So
much.
true.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I agree.
Like I like time travel as a concept, but I feel like very rarely does it work for me in a movie or TV.
Yeah. It's one of those
yeah.
things.
Yeah, and this one, it was like they prayed to God and God gave them a second chance. And that was it. Like, you know, it's very, very simple. You don't need to you don't need to know how it worked.
It's this is a year with a lot of time travel dramas. But I was thinking recently about how much I loved in another drama, Twinkling Watermelon, how they just completely disregarded, like, and they didn't even set up rules of time travel. They were like, here, time travel happened. And now, you know, enjoy the consequences of being in 1995 and next to your dad starting a band with him. It's, you know, meet your 18-year-old mom and like, you know, build a relationship. It's just like, they focus so much on the consequences and instead of just the semantics of time travel, and I like that. And honestly, because it's that complicated relationship that comes after the technical aspects of time travel that is actually fun.
Right. That's what you're there for, is the consequences. You don't really need to know so much about why it happened or how it happened, or, you know, you want to see like, oh my gosh, so how is this going to change things? Like we haven't actually spoiled much of anything yet. I know we were like, we're going to spoil it. But, you know, here we see her, she's like, has a miserable life with a horrible husband who's in love with somebody else. And then her family that's treated her like dirt her whole life, basically blames her for the whole plagiarizing painting scandal. And then she dies. And so she's like, I love how she just like completely flips. You know, you see this like really sweet, super docile, very downtrodden woman. And after she sees the true face, especially of her adoptive mother, she's just like out for blood. And I love how like fully she leans into it.
I love how she just goes.
Oh, and that was a brilliant first episode.
Yes.
That was so good, especially like when she's getting fitted and she's like, has anybody ever broken a wedding here? And then, well, I guess this is a first. And
then she just like rips
her wedding. So good.
But you know, there's also like the emotional realism in it where like she has those moments where it catches, like she's still like traumatized from her past life.
Yeah.
And there are the times where she actually breaks down and she's like struggling to be that revenge version of herself because that's still an aspirational point for her, and sometimes she slips down and she has to climb back up to it. And that I thought was really beautifully done too.
On one hand, struggling to like be that revenge version, but I think even more so like struggling to kind of be free of the abuse that she suffered growing up, and like actually take a chance on Dogok, her husband, who's like, from the beginning, he's like showing her that she can trust him, is fully invested in helping her. But she tells him, he's like, we don't have to, like, this doesn't have to be fake. We can, you know, this can be for real. And she's like, yeah, but like, I don't know if I can trust that someone can really love me. And like, you can see she talks about the whole like mental sort of, I'm struggling for my words today, but like, you know, her adoptive mother has done such a number on her psychologically and that family that she really is like, part of her journey is not just the revenge, but it's like learning how to open her heart to people and trusting that they're not going to like completely step all over her and just destroy her, which is like so nice. And it's like so refreshing when, you know, we have Castaway Diva where like this person went through this 16-year experience of trauma and like we don't ever hear about that again after like episode 4.
No, she's just like a book of quotes.
Right. She's just
I was going to say she comes back with parables.
Exactly. Oh my God. Oh my God.
Yeah. One of the things I really liked about this drama was like the food thing where in the beginning she only eats packaged food because she's so traumatized by the poisoning and she just can't trust anyone around her. And then like they just did it so subtly, but like it was so impactful. The way like he cooks for her, and then he's always like trying her food, and then like one day without even realizing, she just like eats the food that he made without even him even trying it, and it's like such a minor thing, but then it has such a big impact.
And it's like more romantic than the love confessions, because
Yeah.
the first time they have that conversation and she like can't eat, and he like leaves the restaurant and like buys her some packaged food, and she tells him what happened. And like from that point on, he never, well, like that's the moment where she like fully opens up to him about why she wants to do the contract marriage. And he's like, okay, like that's what I was waiting for. I just wanted to know, like, why are you doing this? So like, let's go. I'm here. I'm on your side. And he gives her like that flower engagement ring. And then like the moment when she eats the food without realizing it, like she doesn't even notice. He's the one who's like almost moved to tears. He's like, did you just notice like what just happened? And he's like so happy. He's like about to cry. I was just like, oh, this is an OTP.
Yeah.
This is like why they were meant for each other.
Yeah, I agree.
Because he never once says like, oh, like, don't you trust me? I would never poison you. And tries to like convince her out of it. He's like, oh yeah, this is trauma. I know about trauma. Let's just work on it. I'll just eat your food first for the rest of our lives if that's what you need.
Yeah.
That's the clip I saw on TikTok. That's why I watched it. No, just kidding.
It's also a really good way of like showing his own experience with his history with his brother, which is just, oh my God.
Horrifying.
Horrifying. And it's like his family can't exactly throw his brother out, right? And it's like they are torn between the two siblings. And it's a bad situation. So he took himself out because he didn't want his family to be uncomfortable. And but he was also, what I really like about the book's character is that he is not forgiving his brother, and he refuses to fall for any pretense by his brother. Like that's true from the very beginning. There is no moment where he's like, well, for the sake of the family, I need to pretend nothing happened. He's just like, I'll take myself out of this situation because I don't want to have that conversation where you try to convince me that he didn't do what he did. And it just, there is this one point where he kicks his brother, and like like he has that leg situation, right? So he like falls back, and the entire room is like, oh. And I'm like, this they would usually never show a male protagonist do something like this, because it shows him as like, an unsympathetic character. But it makes so much sense for Sodogok's character, because he has seen his brother be manipulative and horrible his entire life. He doesn't see his brother as like, a cripple who requires sympathy. He sees his brother as a perfectly like, capable man who can wreak havoc. And and horribly malicious. Yeah. So it's just, that's good writing. I really like that. I do have a complaint which I'm holding back on, so I want everybody to finish saying what they want to say, and I wanna
Can we
go?
Can we talk about how great is Im Seo-ra, the Doguk's mum? I love her character so much.
She's so great.
She's perfect.
She's like this, she knows she's like meant to be a tropey stepmother. So her entire like purpose is to not, like her purpose in life for herself is to not end up inhabiting that trope. And then it kind of like she's forced to, but she also resists it, and she ends up being so good.
And she's also like, I love how the way you were introduced to her is that she's so strong-willed that even her own mother-in-law is kind of afraid of her, even though she's like this very powerful chairwoman of the company. And so you're going in, you're like, oh my gosh, this woman has a really strong personality. And then like all it takes is for her to realize what kind of family Iju was raised by, and then she's like, oh my gosh, my baby. I mean, she doesn't like say that.
No, but
that's what she feels on the inside. Yeah. And so from then on, she's just like in protective mama bear mode whenever like Han Yuju is concerned. And it's so nice to see.
And like I'm always skeptical.
Even that entire
Go on, Burma.
I'm sorry, just even that entire revelation where the two families met in that charitable home, and Sodogok's family realized what shit people Han Yuju's parents are, and it's just that realization happened without anybody like making anything very off. It's just that everybody was being themselves, and just I love that so much. There was just sorry, go on, sorry.
That's good. I'm always skeptical of dramas that want to whitewash chaebols into being like good people. And I'm not saying that they can't be good people, but I mean, they're chaebols. But like, I feel like the way that this drama does it it's not asking you to do the kind of work other dramas do. Like, they're just nice people, and sometimes it's okay to just like have your fantasy of the good chaebol, and it's nice. I
will say, yeah, I said earlier that like people react in the way that you would expect them to, and their characters are really consistent, but it's with this like added level of like a very heightened and enjoyable and like delicious kind of dialogue, so that every time characters meet and have a confrontation, you're like on the edge of your seat and you're like enjoying it so much. Like there's that one scene where Im Seo-ra's character, I can't remember her name in the drama, but she faces off against Lee Jung-hae, the evil adoptive mother / I guess stepmother. And she like doesn't like that confrontation between the two of them.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I don't want to spoil it because I don't know if you guys have seen this scene yet, but it's just like so delicious. And you can tell
So
like all
good.
the actors are like enjoying their dialogue. Like, because some of these are like really experienced veteran actors that done like hundreds of dramas, and you can tell they're just like enjoying the heck out of this.
And they're
script.
also character types that don't often get to meet in drama circumstances. So having these two women are the kind of characters that would have their own dramas, right? They would be one of the leads of a drama that one of them is in. But having both of them and then having those types confront each other, like the stuff that comes out of that is so good.
Yeah.
That's very true. I really enjoyed the main villainess, so to speak, like her adoptive mom, basically, Lee Jung-hae. She was just so she was evil, but she's also like so helpless in front of her own daughter, and it's just like they wrote her really well. Like, evil people are completely evil in this drama. There's like no redemption there, but it's just, like you got her because of the way she was written.
Yeah.
And I liked it. I
Played
that a
with
lot.
just like full on chewing the scenery enjoyment by Im and Young. But like I also like I kind of like that they didn't try to redeem anyone. Like I didn't want that.
absolutely.
They're so
Yeah.
evil. I get so annoyed when like they just have to redeem everyone at the end just because. I'm like, no.
No,
Get to be
I get.
redeemed.
Wait, did they do that? Did they do that in Castaway Deepa? I really don't want the dad redeemed. He's a horrible POS. I just do not.
I mean,
We can talk about that another
redeemed,
day.
exactly.
I guess.
Yeah, we can talk about it another day. Zaynab, were you about to say something?
Yeah, I just not everyone needs to be redeemed. And
Yeah.
especially in this kind of drama where like the revenge is so like I just want to see her crush everybody,
Yes.
Exactly.
like really pummel them.
Yeah.
You can't see it,
Let them
listeners,
suffer.
but Zaynab is shaking her fist. That's how strongly she feels about this.
You like the mark of a revenge drama done right is that like the revenge is fulfilled in a really satisfying way. Not
Yeah.
all revenge dramas do that.
No.
Like it revels in its revenginess.
I know. That's what I liked about Vincenzo is that like he said he was gonna do it and he did it.
Yep.
Mhm.
And like
Burn
that's
this
where I
house
feel like
down.
this drama is going as well, where she's gonna get her revenge.
And
And
you know,
also-
like, go on.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, like, we're not gonna spoil the ending since y'all haven't seen it, but I feel like they balanced it really well in the sense that like the characters did move on from that space of anger and resentment, but that doesn't mean that like it doesn't feel satisfying, and you didn't feel a sense of like justice being done, and maybe even a little bit of extra, like revenge enjoyment. That's what you
Yeah.
want from a drama like this.
Yeah.
So I was happy with the ending.
They all get betrayed in the end. Like Yura, Lee Jung-hae's daughter, like what a great character. She was so hateable, but
Mhm.
Yeah.
in a way that didn't sort of make you feel like you're about to have a heart attack in, every 3 minutes. Like you're just so
She
bad.
didn't turn cartoonish. She was hateable in a believable way. Like you can
Right.
imagine her existing.
Right. And you can understand her being the daughter of that mother.
Exactly.
Yeah.
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 Absolutely.
And then it's like they all turn against each
Yeah.
other.
I think I was saying to Annie that like she feels like somebody I like you could know in real life, like one of
Yeah.
those really annoying mean girl character, like people in your real life,
Yeah.
which honestly makes her more hateable because
Yeah.
then you like You're like, that person.
Yeah, like you're only nice until you don't get what you want, and then like
The true
you
colors
show
come
your
out.
real face. Exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Like it's. I don't think it's unintentional as such, but I think it's sort of one of those meta things in the drama that it acts as a character study to reveal how people really work because it's written so well. Like you don't end up consigning this to like, oh, this is fiction. It's all very like, it evokes people you know in real life. It evokes situations that you've been in. It's very real. And that makes it sort of land more deeply.
It's very emotionally intelligent.
Yes.
Yeah. On that note, I know you had a complaint, Barma, but I just want to like quote this one scene that just made me want to just cheer, because there's this one scene, and I won't spoil what it's about, but you don't need to know what it's about in order to get the point. But basically, like, Yeju tells Doguk there's something that she wished that he would have told her. And she says, the more challenging something is, the more you need to share it. That's how you trust and respect the person you're with. Basically, like, she tells him, like, hiding it isn't how it's not consideration for the other person. It means that you're not fully with them. And I was like, yes, say it louder for the drama writers in the back. This was like such an overt, like, forget about noble idiocy, like that's not how real relationships work. So yeah, I like couldn't find the rest of the screenshots, but I screenshotted those scenes because I was like,
no, that was a great quote.
It's a manifesto.
Absolutely.
Please continue.
Yeah. How did you guys feel about the brother-in-law, the older brother, Sodogok's older brother?
He was probably my least favorite character, I'll be honest.
He wasn't particularly fleshed out, was he? Like he did borderline on a cartoon villain to a certain extent.
Yeah.
I can agree with that.
Yeah, I mean, at the very end, you get a little bit of tiny bit of backstory, but it's like kind of in a too little too late kind of way. He's definitely not as fleshed out as the other villains. I think it works well enough for his role in this story. There is something about the way his story ended that bothers me, but I can't really mention that without spoiling anything. So
yeah. I know what you're talking about. Yeah.
I don't, but okay.
From almost the last episode, right?
Yeah. I think our listeners will know what we're talking about as well when they get here if they've watched it, because we talk about it quite a lot. Yeah.
Okay. So the complaint that I had wasn't really plot related. It was a choice in a scene that I found really inexplicable. And I think it was more the writer leaning into the tropes of the genre. And it turned like an otherwise really great sequence into something that I just feel uncomfortable about now. And it's again, this is a spoiler section, like a proper spoiler section. So like if you guys are still watching without actually like listening without actually watching,
this is a
drama,
spoiled yak at this point.
Yeah, like it's on you. So there is this thing where after they're married, so the Gooks confess his feelings. And they have their first night, basically, like they sleep together. And it's just, there is this one moment where she's really overwhelmed. She was crying a lot. And they're like comforting each other and they start making love. And then he holds her down and it's like in a very gentle way. It's not like but she says like, stop, I'm getting overwhelmed. And he's like, I can't stop. And it's just that action along with those choice of words, it was such a good scene right until that point, and I don't understand. And it feels like one of those remnants of, the same scene has been written like 900 times in the last 3 decades, and it's like similar tropes have been used, similar scene setups have been used, and it feels like a remnant from that. But I really resent that. Just, it was not necessary. It was not necessary. Yeah. And also the scene ends on a shot that reveals that Sodoguk is also a time traveler. But it just, again, even for that, you did not need that lead up. You absolutely did not. It could have just been like a gentle pan away towards their wrists. So that was my one complaint with this writing. Why did they do it? I resent it so much.
I'll be honest, I skipped that scene.
I mean, fair enough.
I did not see that.
How did you know that he was a time traveler then?
Oh, no, I just
I
saw
mean, it
that
was
part.
obvious. That
yeah.
was obvious.
Because
from the
it flashed his
beginning.
wrist.
Yeah, it
isn't
was pretty obvious.
But
that
I
he was
did
on-
fast
he
forward
knew something.
the
yeah.
you know, the intimate bits.
Well, I'm glad your enjoyment was not ruined. Anyway, so that's it.
Yeah, no, it definitely wasn't as egregious as like past examples of this, but yeah, I agree. I was like, that was unnecessary. We didn't need to do that.
It's just 2 lines. Why? Just those 2 lines. Just
But sometimes it's the 2 lines that ruin like a whole thing.
Yeah, because it gives you an idea of what not just the writer, but the director, everybody in production watched happen on screen and just thought it's fine. Like it went through a lot of people's, went through past a lot of people's eyeballs before it came in front of ours. And that the scope of that makes it that
At
much
any
worse.
point, an editor could have been like, we can cut this like 3-second portion. We don't need to show it.
Because their entire relationship is so much about him respecting her choices at every single moment. So I don't understand.
Yeah, it felt like off, like he wouldn't behave that way. Yeah, I had actually forgotten about that because that was episode 6. So thanks for reminding me.
I wouldn't even have brought it up except for the fact that I saw there is that part of the fandom that doesn't just ignore this but kind of romanticizes these kind of scenes.
But I think the drama itself does see it as a romantic line, right?
Yeah, absolutely. Otherwise it wouldn't be there.
Right.
Yeah. So, but because it is romanticized by a part of the fandom.
Yeah, he's so overwhelmed by his feelings.
Yeah, he can't control himself, and that lack of male control is romanticized, and this whole societal thing that we are all complicit in, where we are like, oh well, he's a man, he can't control himself, is not logical or narratively required. So just can we move past that, please?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. So the only reason I brought it up is because I figured there would be listeners outside who would have watched that, felt uncomfortable, gone online and seen just nothing but love for that scene, and would have probably questioned their own sanity. Much like I have many times. So yeah, this little bit is for you guys. But moving on, you guys are, otherwise this is freaking OTP. Just the way when she first approaches him in that lounge, and you don't yet know, like you have like a niggling that maybe because you saw the crash happen. It's that possibility was there.
There's another
And
car. Yeah.
And she approaches him in the lounge, and you're like, because she's really pumped herself up to seduce this guy, and he's going along with it, and you have that moment where Yura comes in, and they're walking away, and they go up to the room, and that entire sequence happens. But like the way he is immediately in her corner, it just even when she like walks up to him and introduces herself, and he like takes a moment before he like responds, you're like, oh, he knows who she is. So either he's a time traveler or he's like secretly been in love with her all this time and couldn't say anything because she was engaged.
I thought he was secretly in love with her, and they had a childhood connection at the orphanage or something.
I did consider
until
that.
they revealed the
I
time
thought he
traveler
was
thing.
I thought he had been in love with her for a long time before, like a few episodes in. Then you're like, oh, maybe he's also yeah. But it was a great reveal.
It was so good.
Yeah.
I like that, even though it was kind of like a speculation in the back of my mind, the drama didn't make it obvious through his choices. He just seemed like a guy who was just really into her. He's decided she is the one for him, and that's the only reason. And he sold it. It felt like that could possibly have happened. If in the original timeline, if she had done exactly the same thing, you kind of feel like, knowing who he is, that he would have made exactly the same choices. So, yeah.
Final thoughts? Zaynab, why don't you give your final thoughts first?
I mean, I haven't finished the drama, but so far, yeah, very positive.
What episode are you on?
I'm on episode 8, I think. Yeah, I finished 7, and I maybe just watched a few minutes of 8. So yeah, we'll see. I don't think I know, like, if he knows that she's a time traveler. Do I? Anyways.
I can't say anything.
Should we tell you?
I'm like, is that a question?
Yeah, go ahead. Yeah,
I was like, wait, should I say
yeah,
or
just
not?
spoil the rest of the drama for me right here.
What? You want to know?
I mean, no?
Does Porama want to know? Because she's also watched 7
okay.
episodes. Porama does not
Never
want to know.
mind.
Okay.
You'll find out.
Okay.
Yes, you'll find
I'll
out.
find out next year when I
Waffle.
finish this drama.
Oh my gosh. No,
Well,
finish it
next year's
now.
not that far away.
That's true. That's true. It probably will be next year.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but thank you for having me on. This was fun.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah.
You really need to yell over us
Oh.
more.
You guys are just like so
Zaynab's-
good at talking that sometimes I'm just like, I feel like I'm listening to the podcast, you know?
You
I'm
mean
always
you listen
telling
to
Zaynab-
podcasts without shouting at the hosts?
When I listen to your podcast, I always have so many thoughts. And then afterwards, Appy's like, oh, like, what did you think? And I'm like, I don't remember.
She's like, you have to talk to me right after I listen, then I can tell you.
Yeah. Or I need to like listen to it and have her sitting right there. And then I'll just pause it and like tell her. Yeah. But like final thoughts about this drama. I think like it's so crazy, but it just, I guess that was the crazy we needed.
Yeah, that's really true.
Absolutely. I want to leave it right there.
Yeah. That's my one liner. Like the Castaway Diva girl. That's
Mic drop.
That's exactly. So we got quite a few somewhat old-fashioned dramas this year. One of the more prominent ones at the beginning of the year was Love to Hate You, which I did a solo-ish episode on.
Are you spoiling the year-end yak, Burma?
Well, no. I just want to like reference this, like connect this one with other stuff that we've had. And in previous years, we've had stuff like Business Proposal, which again feels like a throwback. And honestly, if we get, these slightly old-fashioned tropey dramas, but with like subversions that make it not just palatable, but actually wholesome, I would not mind having more.
Yeah.
So more of these, please, and less of, I don't know, like actually toxic stuff. I think like I would much rather have a lot more of these.
Yeah, absolutely.
If you're going to give us the old school stuff, give it to us in an enjoyable new form.
Yes, please. Also, I started the episode by saying that the writer is like, she had the whole thing, it felt like she had the entire story, and the witch completely did not acknowledge the fact that this was adapted from a webtoon. It is. But what I meant is that we've seen really bad adaptations too. So you need a scriptwriter to actually take the story and write their own version. Like it has to be, the adaptation itself is a freaking work of.
Absolutely. Because a lot of times, especially with webtoons, sometimes these I don't know about the original for this one, but sometimes these webtoons have been going on for years, and you have to take that ongoing
All of that
serialized
material.
story. And webtoons just by their nature have a lot of like, repetitive plot lines, and because the writer has to continue to upload something every week. But here it's like very tight, 12 episodes. Nothing is, there's no
Wasted.
like extra fluff on here. It's just like perfect. Every scene is necessary. And I will say, like, my final thought on this is when I was watching the last like 5 minutes of this episode, there's a little like voiceover narration from Haniju, who's the heroine. And I was thinking back to that little voiceover narration we get from the heroine of My Lovely Liar, where I was just like so disappointed by everything she was saying. And I was like, you literally didn't learn anything. If anything, you learned a bad message, and you're like worse off than you were at the beginning of this drama. And here, like that little 2-minute voiceover narration is like such a great encapsulation of like how far she's come, all of the relationships that she's built, who she became as a person, why this journey was necessary for her. It's not just a fun time travel story. It kind of saved her life, and that's like
Literally.
so beautiful.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm so glad to hear that, because I had every confidence, but I still would rather know that this is worth.
It's not a tragic
keeping on
ending
watching.
either. Yeah, just in case you were
It's not
wondering.
one of those where you have to stop at episode 8.
it's not a tragic.
Because
That's disappointing.
I've had Zaynab, my God, this girl. What is up with youth today?
I mean, they could have just had a car crash at the end, like.
Are you being a chaos gremlin right now?
She is. Okay, yeah. So overall, we're all super happy with this drama, even the ones who haven't finished it yet. And we, if you watch it and you enjoy it and you have thoughts, write to us. We want to hear what you have to say.
Zaynab, thanks for joining us. Where can people find you online, or do you want to be found?
Yeah, it's okay.
Okay, you can find her in my house. She's my sister. We live in the same house. Just message me and I'll pass on the
Maybe
message.
don't find us at our house.
Yeah, but don't find us at our house. Just find me online.
And you can find us on Twitter at Dramas Overflow. You can find me at Not Now Saya.
You can find me at Anisa Khalifa _
You can find me, Parma, at the Drama Notes. We also have an Instagram, and therefore we also have threads because you kind of can't avoid it at this point, at dramasoverflowers _ and you can email us at dramasoverflowers@gmail.com.
Our website is dramasoverflowers.net.
And you can sign up for our newsletter either by finding the link in the description or going on over to dramasoverflowers.substack.com.
And come hang out with us on Patreon.
Yes.
Where we have lots of amazing patrons and we're doing lots of fun stuff like extra episodes from like solo lone yaks, as we're calling them, and like fun little reviews and chatter and things like
And
that.
if you get the app, you can chat directly, like in real time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So that's a new feature that Patreon has released for our patrons. If you have the app on your phone, check. There is like a kind of a continuous chat situation. And we are right now doing a what are you watching thread. Okay, yeah, I took words. It's fun. We have a few of us already there discussing the stuff that we're watching as we're watching. I had to eat my words about my demon being awful, so that was fun. But also, if you guys are considering becoming our patron but haven't quite made up your mind, there is like a free trial version that you can do, which will pretty much give you access to everything. So, use that. Why wouldn't you? And yeah, come over, talk to us. Okay.
And also go and check out our new YouTube channel if you like BTS. It's called Bantan Over Flowers.
Yes.
Put the link in the description. Bye then.
That was just the worst. That was the worst plug ever.
I'm very embarrassed.
So, to do it properly, Sayanisa and I started Bangtang Over Flowers. It's on YouTube. It currently has something like 450 subscribers, all of which is thanks to this one guest spot we did on another reaction channel, which Saya won a contest for and dragged me to. We will link the video to that. It's hilarious. We did 2 videos with them. And anyway, so we have that channel and it's all about BTS. We have exactly 1 video up there and Anisa is grumpily part of that video. You guys will enjoy her so much. So
We can't do it without our
give it a
professor.
try.
I mean, I did my best not to be grumpy.
Yeah.
I thought
She
it was
brought
pretty...
all of that sort of context that like we don't know because, we arrived late.
No, that's true.
Shout out to my VIPs.
I thought it was pretty fun for somebody who doesn't follow BTS. I thought it was still like pretty good video.
Oh, okay, there you
There
go.
you go. There's your review.
It was informative, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you, Zaynab, for your review.
Yeah, so you have an endorsement from a non-BTS person, which means if you're a BTS person, you should enjoy it even more. All right, guys. Thank you for listening.
Yeah. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.